Today, we're going to be talking about new construction home financing. Will the builder pay for your closing costs? If you use the builder lender, will you still get a good rate, or is there a catch? That's what we're talking about today. Hi, I'm Jessica Janung with Active Realty and the Janung team if we have not met yet. Thanks so much for checking out this channel where we make a new video every week telling you what it's like to buy and sell property in the Temecula Valley. How does the financing work for new construction? There are some similarities to buying a resale home and there are some differences, so I'm going to take you through the process in this video. Most loan products that are available for resales are also available for new construction. You can do your normal conventional loans, putting down 20%, 10%, 5%, even as low as 3% down. For 3% down conventional loans, you typically need really good credit scores. One thing to keep in mind for our area is the conforming loan limit in Riverside County, which is $548,250. So depending on how much you put down, your purchase price will be higher than the limit. The $548,000 is the loan limit, not including your down payment. All builders work their process a little bit differently, but typically how the process starts is you find a community or two that you like and you want to get on the wait list. In order to get on the wait list, usually the builder is going to require you to pre-approve with their in-house lender, which is usually affiliated with the builder. So you're going to do a quick pre-approval with the builder's lender. This is not an in-depth, your file's not seen by underwriting. It's not loan approval. It's just a very quick pre-approval just to get you on the wait list. So once you're on the wait list and it gets to your turn and you find a home that you like, that's when you sign the purchase contract and you do the earnest money deposit. At that point, then you typically have the normal builder contracts give you 30 days to get loan approval. So that's where you're going to submit all of the documentation that they ask for. It's going to go to underwriting. You're going to satisfy any conditions that they have. That's how this process works at that time. After you get loan approval, normally your builder contract is going to have a financing contingency in it if you're getting a loan. So if for whatever reason you're not approved, normally you can get your earnest money deposit back at that time. But after you get loan approval, that's when it becomes much more difficult to get your earnest money deposit back, because that is normally the only contingency in a builder contract. I often get asked by my clients about when it's time to lock their rate. When should they lock? Should they wait? Hope that interest rates go down? This is obviously difficult to give advice on this in a video, so that's why it's so important to get that second lender's opinion, because oftentimes the outside lenders, like if I'm referring a lender to a client, they are going to be more available than the builder's lender to go over your different options and explain the scenarios to you. One option that some of my clients have been discussing lately is doing a extended rate lock, which often the lenders will charge a fee for you to be able to lock in the rate earlier than a normal time. So one very important thing to find out if you are considering doing that is that rate lock fee refundable or not? I've seen it go both ways, and these rate lock fees are pretty expensive. Like I've seen them easily $3,000, $4,000, $4,500. The last one I was reviewing for a client, the builder lender was charging a 0.5% of the purchase price for the extended rate lock fee. So keep in mind that it can be very substantial. The other thing to keep in mind, if you do end up paying an extended rate lock fee, even if it's refundable, it makes you basically beholden to that lender. So if you don't end up using the lender that you have paid the extended rate lock fee to because you found a way better interest rate with somebody else, you are not going to get that money back. So it kind of almost is forcing you to use the lender that you paid the extended rate lock fee to. So to be clear on the ones where I've seen where it is refundable, it is only refundable at closing when you do end up getting the loan from that lender. So if you switch lenders, then it is not refundable. This applies to any loan that you're getting, not just new construction, but it's especially important in new construction because it's easy to forget these few tips that I'm going to give you right now, because we have such a long escrow period, 6 months or more while they're building your house, but you do not want to quit your job. You don't want to switch jobs while you're in escrow. You don't want to make new big purchases. Like sometimes these things come up at the very end of closing, and it can delay or it could even derail your purchasing the new home. You want your loan profile to be exactly the same or better as when you first applied for the loan and bought the house to when you close. The fewer changes, the easier it is to close on your loan. Another rate locking topic. I recommend when you are in discussions with the lender, not only just for new construction, any loan that you're getting, and they are talking about locking your rate and you are ready to do so, you want to do it in writing, in an email, and you need them to confirm back to you, because I have had this happen to clients where they're in discussions about locking the rate and they tell the lender, I want to lock the rate, and the lender did not confirm via email and their rate was not locked, and then by the time they realized the rate wasn't locked, rates had gone up, and then nobody's happy. A huge tip I always recommend, especially to my new construction clients right now, because as I mentioned, the builder lenders are at a very high volume and stuff is getting missed right now, is that you have to stay on top of them. So like I mentioned with the rate lock, make sure you get that email back confirming that your rate is locked, and the same continues throughout the closing process. If you are not hearing from that lender, remind them about you, because it happens. People get forgotten about because they have such high volume, and then it makes your closing a lot more stressful. So it's a little bit of the squeaky wheel gets the grease situation. If you don't know what's going on, raise your hand so that you can get the attention that you need. So after you get your loan approval, which like I said, normally they give you about 30 days to get that, there is this big long waiting period in new construction. And then when you get close to closing on your home, normally it takes about 6 months to build a home in our area, that's when it becomes a fire drill and the lender gets back on the horn, normally like 60 or 45 days before closing, and then they're going to be finalizing your loan and asking you for updated documents, and you need to get those in quickly after it being kind of crickets for several months before that. So what I'm recommending now to my clients, which has kind of changed in our current market environment, is I always recommend getting a second opinion for the builder lenders to keep them honest on their rates, because I have seen them be very, very negotiable. And I have seen them give rates to people, I have the different clients within the same community with very similar financial profiles, and for whatever reason, one they're offering a good rate and one they're offering like a crap rate. So I certainly recommend getting a second opinion from an outside lender. You used to be able to do this closer to closing, like within the 30 to 60 days of closing, get that second opinion, but I'm changing my recommendation on that lately because of this strong sellers market. Some of the builders have been saying, once you get to the very end, no, we won't let you change, because and they don't care if you cancel right now, because if you cancel right now, they'll put the home back on the market and they'll make more money, because my new construction clients currently have equity walking into the house because the prices are going up so much every month. So in that initial 30 days, when you're working on your loan approval with the builder's lender, which they're going to require, by the way. You are not required to actually use the builder's lender, but normally you are required to pre-approve with the builder's lender, because before they build the home, they want to make sure that you're creditworthy. So in that first 30 days, get your second opinion loan approval as well. Have an outside lender put you through underwriting as well and get you an approval, so you have that ready to go in case you get to the end of escrow and they give you some BS rate. It is very common that you need to get a second opinion, get it in writing. You can take it to the builder's lender, and I have seen them match the lower rates very, very often. I have seen builders come down as much as a full point very easily by just getting a second opinion. So you definitely want to negotiate with them. Some builders, they give you a really good rate right off the bat. You don't have to negotiate, but there's a couple that I work with regularly where we're always having to haggle rates. So get that second opinion. I have even had clients have to go so far as going to the in-house, the builder's lender's manager to kind of complain about getting a rate. So and in my opinion, quite frankly, it is worth it to lock in that good rate. When you use the builder's lender, they often give you closing cost credits. So almost all, not all, but almost all of the builders in our area are offering closing cost credits if you use their in-house lender. So your best case scenario is you get that builder credit and you get them to match the lowest rate. So you get the best of both worlds. You save on the interest rate and you get a lot of your closing costs paid for. So how much in closing costs are they offering you? Well, this varies from community to community. Some they're only offering like $3,000 or $3,500. On average, I would say it's like $6,000 to $8,000. And on the high side, like there's some builders around here that are offering 3% if you use their in-house lender. And some of those are the ones that, it is a little bit of a catch. They are the ones that don't have as great a rates. So that's what you need to decide for yourself is how much do you need those closing costs? How much are they worth it? Is the amount that they're giving you in closing costs just kind of, does it seem inflated because their closing costs are kind of above the market rate? So maybe you're not getting as much value as they say that you're getting. These are all things to consider. But typically, not always, I have seen a couple exceptions to this, but typically in order to get the builder credit, the closing cost credit, you do have to use the in-house lender. I have seen some circumstances where the builder's lender could not get the file done. Although the buyer did first try the builder's lender, they couldn't do it. So we used a backup lender, and that backup lender was able to do it, and they still honored the credit only because the builder lender was not able to do it. But that's a very rare circumstance. So 99% of the time, they are going to tie that credit to using the builder's lender. If we were in more of a balanced market or even a buyer's market, I think that would be more negotiable. But it has not been very negotiable lately, I will say. So in some circumstances, is it worth it to give up the builder closing cost credit in order to lock in a better rate or maybe a much better rate? Well, you certainly have to do the math on that because I have had several clients that have decided that it was better to use the outside lender with the lower rate and forego the closing costs. It depends on your individual circumstance. So like I've had some clients that they absolutely 100% need that closing cost and be able to buy the home. So that's a different story. When that's the case, that's when we really go to bat with the builder lender to get the rates down. And I have seen a lot of success. They've been successful in doing that. Sometimes it does take some haggling. One other thing that I always give my clients the heads up on, and this doesn't apply to every lender, like I said, every builder lender, but for the most part, because the builders are at a very high volume and so are the lenders, the customer service is probably not going to be good. The communication is typically not good. So if you start in that mindset and you kind of expect it, you will be less frustrated when you encounter that. And some of them are just fine, but a lot of them, like I said, they are at a very high volume, and there has been a lot of frustration lately. So I recommend going into it with that mindset so it's not particularly frustrating. I've had some clients, like it was so frustrating, they decided to give up the closing costs just to go with, like the regular lenders I work with in my resale business give amazing customer service. But they're not offering these builder credits. So that's the trade-off. You take the builder credit, you get the builder service, which typically is not impressive. Even with that being said about the customer service, if all things are equal, my recommendation to my clients is to go with the builder lender. There are several reasons in my experience for that. So if you're getting the same rate and you're getting the closing costs, everything being equal, I do advise to go with the builder's lender. Just in my opinion, the appraisals are more likely to come in. And the other thing is, if there is any delay in closing, if it's the builder's lender, it's no problem. If it's your outside lender, then we have a problem. The other thing about sometimes using an outside lender for new construction financing is that a lot of them don't do new construction financing very often, and they don't know what to do. They don't know what papers to order. They're not the usual lender that the builder works with. So that's why these builders are offering these big closing cost incentives. Like, it's not coming from the builder's lender. That closing cost credit is coming directly from the builder because it's much more cost efficient for them to be working with one lender that's handling all of the people buying there, rather than everybody's individual lender would be a paperwork and communication nightmare. So while I do recommend getting a second opinion to keep the builder's lender honest as far as the interest rate goes, I don't necessarily recommend getting a ton of quotes from a bunch of different lenders, because these outside lenders, they do have a hard time competing with the builder's lender because of the credit that is being given. So you know, a lot of lenders that I've worked with in the past, they don't necessarily want to pre-approve people for new construction, because those people don't, oftentimes they do decide to go with the builder lender and they don't actually get that file. So to recap real quick, after you sign the purchase contract for new construction, you are going to be applying with the builder's lender, and I recommend that you apply with a backup lender as well, and not just apply, but get the full loan approval, so that when you get close to closing, you know, within 60 days or so, you can have that second opinion in case you need that quote to be able to negotiate with the builder lender to get them to get their rate down. You do not want to wait till the last minute, because some of the builders will not allow you to change lenders at a certain point in the process. So that is my 2 cents on new construction financing, and I hope that helped you. See you next week. Bye.